Hello everyone and welcome to Fatum Aeterna, Lord of the Dead. We have returned this time to play in the most challenging difficulty the game has to offer. This save file shall remain here for all of eternity to remind me overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. But this time we have completed the campaign and good always wins. Look at this lovely golden skull patting me on the back, telling me I did a good job. And we're going to be here for the Eternal Harvest. Now, Eternal Harvest has 5 scaling difficulties for the absolute mad lads that really hate themselves. We're going to be playing on the first of this difficulty because, well, gotta feel it out somewhere, right? If there is a ton of interest, then we can, of course, climb the ladder. I'm not opposed to that. In my research for this series, however, I did learn that difficulties 4 and 5 require you to basically cheese it. They're that hard, that unfair that you just need to cheese it your entire way through. So the recommendation was that if you like doing different things, then, you know, experimenting a little bit, trying new stuff, then don't go above Eternal Harvest 3. That was a recommendation I heard on the internet. I don't know how true that is, but I'm just going to go ahead and believe them. But anyway, we're starting on difficulty 1 for fun. Haha. A special mode for those eager to go one step beyond. There is less starting resources, less battle rewards, enemy strength is constantly rising. Elite enemies regularly join normal battles, enemies have a high chance to become inspired, minions do not recover vigor out of battle, Iratus does not recover any mana out of battle, and graveyard efficiency is constantly decreasing. They take from you everything and give you nothing. So as I did last time, I did create my own little introduction cinematic of sorts, using parts from the ending cinematic of the game. So if you don't want to be spoiled for that, even though I think I tore it apart enough that it's not, you know, entirely spoiling, there will be a timestamp in the description down below and the pinned comment, so you can go ahead and just skip all the babbling and the intro cinematic that I made to, you know, skip right ahead into the fun stuff. But for those of you that want to see it, it will explain a little bit of my approach that I'll go over, of course, when we're fighting. So welcome everyone to Fatum Aeterna, Fate of the Eternal.
The potential for corruption lies in all life, and when it grows too great, only the Avatar of Death can provide the cure. Your fate is already woven.
Fate? A necromancer knows much about fate. Would you like me to tell you what it is? Death. It is the inescapable end that awaits all mortals. I am nobody's puppet. I am the puppet master, and in death, you will all dance upon my strings. Time to harvest.
Iratus, look at you. You're all covered in blood. It's almost like you had to slaughter a couple thousand meat bags on your way here. After all, that was the last series, right? We killed everything in sight. And this time we're going to go with a different approach. One that is near and dear to my heart. You're right. It's time to give people heart attacks. But just like last time, in order to give people heart attacks...
dreams to become this when they grow up.
Lol. To give people heart attacks, we need a powerful frontline. And there is no frontliner quite like the Bone Golem. Nah. He's back. Is it Bone Storm this time? Or is it another? It'll be hard to tell, really. Now, as I mentioned last time, in the Good Always Wins series, The Revenge of the Undying, we killed literally everything with magic and debuffs and punching. So this time we're going to give people heart attacks. But because we're on a pretty challenging difficulty, I do think that the Bone Golem's incredibly defensive and durable body is needed to survive at all, really. The Dark Knight here, he does do stress stuff of his own, but he's not really a good tank. Like, he can't be crit, which is nice, because there's a lot of critting happening here. But I mean, he's no bone golem. And look at this vigor. 75, 165. Ooh. They say it's not the size that matters, but when it comes to health, maybe it is. Now, in Eternal Harvest, a few things are different, but the most important thing is that you may notice we have a 0 Digger Souls. Absolutely none. So we can't build anything in the graveyard, and to try and overcome that deficit, I think it is, without question, necessary to pick up
Through transformation, the will becomes free.
Architecture buff. Most of what I was researching for Eternal Harvest is people basically just flooding the alchemy tree for just the chance to find stuff, and of course for brain, so that you can either pivot your group composition when needed, or that you can recover if something goes horribly awry, which it might. Also, when I was playtesting a little bit, I found that I needed to get Advanced Doctorate very quickly, like my 3rd talent point or something. But I'm also going to rush towards Advanced Ballistics because I think accuracy is very important. Even more so here. So here we go to the first area, since we can't do anything else anyway. The kingdom had need of the vast riches buried underneath the castle. Great veins of iron that promised to fuel conquest after conquest, along with ancient artifacts from a long-forgotten age. The dwarves were eager to offer their services in this project, bringing their untested mining equipment and experimental concoctions for the promise of wealth. They only needed bodies that could obey, and that the humans could provide. With dungeons filled to the brim with both criminals and rebels, there was no shortage of slaves to work these mines. Drugs were used to keep them docile as they dug ever deeper, year after year, unaware of the mortal danger that awaited them below. That's us. I love reading that every time, and I make that joke every time too. It never gets old. Hello, this is me from the future. I was so excited to begin our Eternal Harvest that I kind of just hopped into combat without explaining what the goal of this current composition was. So I figured if you weren't familiar with stress builds, I should go ahead and just edit this in. Now for the first slot, the Bone Golem is here to provide blocks as extra protection for our squishy characters, and to just take damage because most enemies target the first slot as their priority. Not always, but the first slot is more likely to be attacked, so he can heal himself, and he can defend his allies by giving them 2 block. In the second position we have the Banshee. The Banshee is a stress/debuff type character, and the main reason she's in the second position is because this will enable her to use her Wrath ability, Howl, to stun the first 2 targets. We do use it a few times, but I never quite explained what it did. When she doesn't have the Wrath to use that ability, she'll be using her Accelerando to reduce the damage of the enemy's next attack and apply a small amount of stress damage to all enemies. It's very nifty. She is quite squishy, however, so the Bone Golem does provide most of the blocks to her, so that she doesn't die. Very important there. In the third position we have the Wraith. The Wraith is another squishy glass cannon-like stress character who primarily deals either targeted stress damage with a debuff or applies a multi-target curse. We use him primarily for the curse because the curse deals stress damage every single turn and is pretty nifty to whittle down your enemies. He does also come with a baseline 2 block and 2 ward, so he is less vulnerable than the Banshee and probably will not be receiving block from the Bone Golem unless his block is chipped away. In the fourth position, and last but not least, we have the Bride of Aratus. The Bride of Aratus is not usually seen in stress compositions, but she does have 1 stress ability that she can contribute. It does do a noticeable amount of damage, so it's a good thing just to throw in the final slot because it can be tricky to find something to put in the 4th slot. She also can deal damage if for whatever reason our enemies are losing their vigor instead of their sanity, and she can help deal with constructs, which you may see later. And that's basically it for our beginning composition. This will change, of course, over time, but I just want to make sure if you didn't know what you're looking at, that you did. Okay, back to the video. So, stress team. Yes, I love stress teams. I immediately clicked with them when I first began playing, but they are a little risky here in Eternal Harvest because, well, enemies have a high chance of becoming inspired, which means instead of going insane, their sanity bar will refill and they will get a random buff. That's pretty terrifying. But I think the risk versus the reward is worth it. Also, I've tinkered with sounds quite a bit, and it sounds pretty loud. I think effects has to go down. I think it does. Oh, you're already out of your stance. Awkward. I'm using the Bride because the Bride is wonderful. But she also has a ridiculous amount of accuracy, so even for stress-oriented builds, her one stress attack is pretty nifty. Another change that's from the previous series is that I am... Oh yeah, effects volume has to go down. We are running at 2 times combat speed. So, you saw it. I didn't get to go fast enough to interrupt it. They have so much initiative. It's actually kind of disturbing. Do I just stun here? Sure. So, if things are going a little fast, that would be why. It goes up to 5 times, but I found that, like, anything 3 and above was kind of nauseating for me, so, you know. Here we are. I might just try and kill that dude. Unsuccessful. As though I were. So because the Bone Golem hasn't been upgraded yet, we are only applying blocks, but blocks are pretty good.
Maybe I'll craft this one into furniture.
Pretty good. I guess I could have done that earlier to remove initiative, huh? I forgot that did that. It's been a long time since I've played a stress build. But sometimes you just gotta kill him.
Mop up the gore.
Ooh, what's this?
I'd hate to see plants using it as fertilizer.
Cannoneer's Garbs, but it's definitely Bloodborne inspired. 100%. Alright, let's turn this down. Effects volume, come down a bit. By a bit, I mean a lot. Like that much. Sound is always a challenge. It's never perfect. Never, ever, ever. Hello, Banshee. You need evasion. I need you to evade everything. And then hit stuff. Make sure you hit things. That's important. So, remember when I mentioned that advanced doctorate's pretty important?
Your formulae reveal their secrets.
I'm gonna pick it up. Maybe I should have waited. I feel like... I think I can go... Oh, I definitely should have waited. What is this? Oh, well. It was a talent point we were going to have to pick up anyway. So it's not truly wasted. But it definitely would have been better suited elsewhere. So what is our approach this time for items? Well, this cultist would be great for our Bone Golem, our yet unnamed Bone Golem. Digger Souls would be really helpful, because, again, we started with 0. Items are always welcome and amazing. Steals are probably super duper good. There are 3 on this, but what the? What? But if we followed this, there's not a whole lot of zigzagging, you know, if we go this path. Because you can't go this way, I don't think. Maybe you can. Kind of hard to tell. I feel like this would be blocked off, though. I don't know how true that is. And I feel like this would be blocked, too. You usually can't take a side path if it, like, descends instead of... It's either equal distant or upwards. So, like, if we went left here, we could cross over here. I'm pretty sure. Or, you know, go up here and continue the ziggy-zaggy. Then zigzag this way. Well, more like this way. That was a good zigzag. I definitely want to milk the first floor as much as I can. Go like this. You can zig here. Or just go right again. I think that's kind of the play. We could also head these triple steals are so tempting. I want them. And I don't like sacrificial altars. I've mentioned this before, but the minion that you sacrifice determines what you get, but I have no idea what the what it is. I still feel like these Digger Souls could be worth it, though. We could hit up triple chests. Oh my goodness. We need coffins for the minions, though. Is triple chest worth it? That's, of course, for... You know what? I might go this way. That looks good. Alright. We're going to zigzag a little bit. Okay, I figured it out. Woohoo! Yay for figuring it out. So, yeah. This series, Fatum Aeterna, Fate of the Eternal. It's not perfect Latin. I'm sorry. I did some research on it, but I think the correct Latin, the correct conjugations for what I wanted to do is the name of an Israeli band that I know nothing about. So I figured it was better safe than sorry to not use that name. But apparently this translates into Fate of the Eternal, although it's probably some heavily butchered Latin. But I mean, my channel name is like butchered anglicized Norse, so do I care? Not really, is the answer. I definitely don't want him to do any stance stuff. And because we've seen... Aratus has been on the channel for a while, so I figured we might as well have some sped up combat. I already talked about it, but I did have sped up combat in Mistover, and I kind of liked it. It helped out a little bit. So, if you don't like it, you can let me know. No, I want to try and kill him, so he doesn't run away from me. I want his parts. That sounds wrong in context. Without context, even. I mean, even in context, it sounds questionable. I could have tried to stun him with... Do I kill him again? Well, I tried.
Good.
Oh, he died.
More material.
Nice.
Ooh, I didn't think it would be this easy.
Now, there are a number of ways to deal stress damage. A number of builds, even. And... Oh, that's what we're missing. There's a character we're missing. Well, by missing, I mean it wasn't here when I was doing my testing. And it's a character I'm very interested in. Because he's kind of like the stress version of what we were doing last time. Was that a 71 hit? What? You want me?
You know, if this keeps up, I'll be done purging the world ahead of schedule.
It'd be nice if we could get a brain for him. I can just bring him in. I feel like you definitely need accuracy. The easy answer is to just put points in Dread. So I guess that's what we're gonna do. Dread increases stress damage. So that's a very easy more Damahe type thing. I'm very curious as well. Health. Health, please. All of the health. Health and accuracy. When we need the Golem Golem to hit, it's probably going to be so that we can interrupt stances with Mutilate. Maim, even. And we definitely need him to connect when we need him to connect. I can't believe we already got a rare piece. Rare part. That was very unexpected. This deal is 100% going to Aratus. 120% free XP. Guard, double convict, guard. I hate guards, but we have two people that can interrupt stances, and we aren't really moving about. So that's okay. One thing I learned in my testing and my research is that stuns are so strong. And we already knew that. We already knew that stuns were good. But it just seemed extra good. Like, to the point that people were... Oh, this one build. There's this one build. It was hilarious. It was double Lost Soul, double Skeleton. And you might be confused by that. But the reason... That was a big chunk. The reason was because the Lost Souls would chain together... I feel like I need to block, but I also feel like I need to heal. Would chain together their many buff applications on the enemies. And the skeletons, while the Lost Souls were chaining them together, would like swap back and forth with their stun ability that moves them about. Good stun. And then once there was like 5 or 6 buffs, maybe more on the enemies, the skeletons would then use their smite ability with the upgrade to have like a 4 or 3% chance to insta-kill the target. So smite, for each buff on an enemy, it will hit an additional time. So the idea was each time a skeleton hit with smite, they had a 3% chance to insta-kill, and they were hitting 5 or 6 times or even more. So the goal was to just one-shot people. And that was it. That was what they did. And it was effective. Which was scary. I felt like that was kind of a necessity. A strategy of necessity, not so much a strategy of fun. It was hilarious. But we're in trouble. Not something that I would consider fun. So you can see why... who's going next? You. Of course I can't reach you to remove your initiative. It's fine. Less fine, but fine.
You end up replacing it. Got it?
Because they killed him, they had some of their sanity replenish. I guess I could try and stun them all here. We have a 25% chance. Do I take it? He's probably going to miss the convicts too. Alright, we'll just heal. I definitely need to rage rank 3.
He dies so that you can live.
With the bone golem. So that he can heal himself a lot. Okay, the convict's fleeing. Well, okay, we just won. That's the unreliable bit of this strategy, is that heart attacks are kind of...
My will is a tide,
you know,
that will wash away your pathetic civilization.
Up in the air. There was also a great strategy. It was genius. Absolute genius. That relies on the bride, and it relies on a piece called the piercing bone? Bone piercer? Whatever. It basically allows a minion that has it equipped to... I'm trying to think of what we should do here. To ignore, block, and ward. So you don't have to remove them. The one minion can just shoot through it. It doesn't care. And, basically, they had a full group that was supporting the bride, and the bride was the only DPS. And they would just dump Amok, and then Infectious Lunacy. They had the increased buff to worship him, I'm pretty sure it was. Maybe it was adore him, who knows. And they would just spam her Wrath ability. And they would kill the entire enemy team in like 3 or 4 turns. And it was hilarious, and I would love to replicate it. Okay, so I'm thinking we go with Get Away From Him. This improves our Dread ability we've been using, but it just makes... The only upgrade to it is that it removes Ward, which is pretty important. It's pretty important, because if we fight an enemy that has Ward and have to interrupt its stances, I'm thinking specifically of the Doomsayer, then we're in trouble. I mean, we have many ways to remove Ward, so maybe that's not as important as I think it is. But it feels pretty important. I don't know. I might go for Worship Him while we contemplate this.
I expect results.
We used Worship Him in the last series as well, but that's because I love Spell Power. Spell Power is so good. And it gives me 2 Dread, which is kind of like a double whammy for us right now. So, you know, I'm satisfied. I'll get some luck and then we can upgrade Dread again, because I'm definitely still aggressive. I'm still the same old me. You haven't lost me yet. I love Accelerando. This doesn't really matter, does it? Plus 20 Dread is a pretty good buff. That's a pretty good buff. I'm going to do Accelerando. Now, the main reason... I didn't explain why I'm using these people, I'm sorry. The main reason I'm using the Banshee here is because the Banshee has Howl, which you've seen a few times. This will stun the first 2 targets if it connects. And stunning is powerful. I've already kind of talked about that. And so I think it's a great ability. But also the Banshee can debuff entire enemies with Supremo, which reduces their attack of the next ability. And as you can see, they hit hard enough as it is. We don't need that in our lives. You know? Ooh, we need 4 points for 10 vigor. That's 10 free vigor. Anyway. More health, please. And you do always want to go... Okay, always is a stretch. But usually you want to upgrade Bone Armor into Bone Ward, so that you're not applying 2 blocks, you're applying a block and a ward. But I think it's more important on Eternal Harvest to first go for Abyssal Engine. What does this even do? Oh yeah, Revisitives. To increase the healing the Bone Golem does from 10% of his vigor to 20% of his vigor.
Back to battle.
That is pretty big. Pretty big. I'm also going to go ahead and distill here. We picked up that one thing, that one talent, which I think is pretty important. The Advanced Doctrine. This makes it so that we restore, instead of 15% vigor, 30% vigor to all minions. This is also very important, but like I said, I think we're going to rush for Advanced Ballistics.
Messy slaughter.
Plus 12 accuracy. Beautiful. We still don't have enough to build this. We're 4 short. Feels freaking bad. Speaking of being short, we're short a minion. And I guess I can show you what I wanted to put here that I forgot about. The Infested! What up, bro? We didn't see you at all in the last series. Not even a glimpse of you. The Infested is a Dread-specific character. And much like last time, we manipulated the Fallen Dampier's ability to hit multiple times with one ability. The Infested can do the same thing with Pestilent Rain. You can also get the upgrade that makes it so it doesn't miss, which can lead to some shenanigans. But yeah, so if we do decide to go down... Oh, these are so good. Okay, so if going from right to left, we have the Jesters Visions. What? The Jesters Visage. This increases significantly the chance that an enemy will attack a specific minion. This is such a risky item that I'm not going to press it. I'm just not. The Serpent Skull, we have used and abused this to excellent, to great efficacy. If a minion starting on the 3rd or 4th position, they receive +3 luck and +3 crit damage until the end of battle, stacking it to 5 times. So after 5 turns, you have +15 luck, which increases your chance to crit, and +15% crit damage. We have seen some ridiculous numbers. The one that comes to mind is the end of last series. We had Angrath the Unbound, a particularly overpowered blood phantasm that hit for 827 twice. I think that was kind of a display bug, but he still hit that hard. And I'm never going to forget that. Good job, Angrath. But most importantly, here we have the Armored Plates. This reduces damage received by 10% and is an important part of a very specific build that I'm picking up.
All for my future kingdom.
I like how it just hyped up the Serpent Skull and like, well, we're getting this. Don't worry. It's important. I'm not going to equip it yet, because if we lose something in the 3 battles before I can get the item I need to pair with it, I would be very sad. I would be very, very sad. I never really finished my explanation of the Fatum Aeterna thing, did I? I am really bad at that, sorry. So anyway, the end of the explanation is that the idea, if you watched the cinematic, was that the fate of the Eternal Iratus, who is immortal, is to forever dance with the mortals, like acting as the avatar of death for the corrupted mortals. And I loved that idea so much. That's why when I edited the video together, it had the parts that talked about fate like 3 times. I really tried to drive it home there. Because I try to give each series like a theme, right? And there's no better way to show mortal slaughter than to stress people into oblivion. It's my favorite. It's my favorite. Look how much our Bone Golem is healing now. It's just actually insane.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
And the Infested does so much stress damage. Again, actually insane. If I remember correctly, he also has a decent amount of evasion. Which brings me to another point that I never finished. Which was, I'm very curious about evasion tank builds. Which is super risky. Like, when it comes to evasion tanking, you either dodge and are happy, or don't dodge and are very sad. And there's really no in between. So, you know, it's a risk I'm willing to take.
Brave are an excellent source of fresh corpses.
Mostly because it's my minions taking the threat and not me. Let's see, are you as evasive as I think you are? Yeah, 16 evasion is not bad for innate. Let's see, how high can you get this? 6 times 3 is 18. Plus 4. Uh-oh. 34? Is that what we're looking at? I mean, that's not bad, especially when you think that... Is it here? We can get plus 5 baseline, and then we can get items that increase evasion. That's pretty good. It's no, like, Banshee, but it's pretty good. And of course, the Banshee becomes quite the frontliner when you get her slipper, which makes it so she heals whenever she evades. Also, the reason people are running away is entirely because of the Banshee. This makes so the chance of enemies escape increases by 2% each turn until 10%, which makes it 5 turns. Sometimes you just get lucky and they run away. I had it once where they ran away on turn 1, and I was uber confused. And it was a lovely comment that pointed it out to me. Thank you, lovely comment. I appreciate you all, really. Except for the people that are spamming about, like, dating sites.
The cold-edged stone of the obelisk comes with the power of souls drawn towards it. Many ancient monuments were built for exactly this purpose.
You guys never get to see them, though, because they're automatically blocked by YouTube, and then I get to report them. But that's, like, a good sign, right? That's a sign that I'm becoming popular enough for people to spam me with fake sites.
In short, while I have managed to gather every scrap of significant mortal knowledge down here, it's about as dull as you'd imagine.
About as dull as you'd imagine. I can tell how enthusiastic you are, Aratus. Well, we're going into our first challenging fight. We have a miner, a mad mage, a demolitions expert, and a taskmaster. I am scared a little bit. I'm trying to think. Now, I mentioned before that the Bone Golem, the upgrade you usually want to get for bone armor, is Bone Ward. That's because it applies a block and a ward which protects you against magical attacks. And we are fighting 2 people who only deal magical attacks. Pretty terrifying ones as well. So we're forced to distill here, unfortunately, because we might not survive if I don't.
It's no goal, but it will do.
We could gamble and throw on... No. Do we like this Bone Golem? Have we decided we're attached to it yet? It's been putting in good work. And it already has a okay. We'll give him the Armored Plates. The Armored Plates reduces all damage received by 10%, and it's very good, very important that we keep it, that we don't lose it. Okay. It's fine. Ooh. Okay. There are a few things we need to do here. Thing 1. We need to break the demolitions expert as soon as humanly possible. The sooner we break him, the better everything's going to be. We also need to kill the Mad Mage very soon. And if possible, keep the demolitions expert out of the first position. It's like he heard what I said and decided, nope, not happening. I do have a muck. I could have mucked the infests. Uh-oh. Okay. How lucky do we feel? We have two ways we can react to this. Oh, it's time to praise RNGesus, isn't it? Alright, RNGesus. The two ways we can react to this is, one, we can try and stun it out with Howl, or we can scream him and try to move him to a random position. Now, things have actually kind of lined up for us to be decent against this. But let's pray to RNGesus, shall we? Oh. RNGesus. Thank you. Thank you. You're with me this day. Watch this. This is gonna be good. I'm really gonna enjoy this. Aw, I can't puke on you.
Perish.
I definitely want this to hit the Mad Mage if I can. So I'm gonna bop you backwards. You can't cancel his stance. Oh, get wrecked. See, that's what I wanted. That was what I wanted to see. So do you recover health? That's fine. I'll kill you. I don't mind that much. Do I? I'm pretty sure my bride's just gonna kill this guy. Ooh. Alright, we have to use some magic here.
Released.
Unideal, but we can deal with it. No big deal. See? That evasion coming in hot. I would have just healed for... How much is it? Do I... It's a 20% heal, right? Wow. The Banshee would have just healed for 40% of her health. If she had the item already. Which of course she does not. Which actually brings me to an excellent point.
Another step towards my eternal kingdom.
Each character attacking the infested is cursed with a spell that deals 20 stress damage each turn for 3 turns. I have never seen that. And last but not, or not last but not least, but finally, actually this is pretty quick, isn't it? We got advanced ballistics already.
Rivers will run red.
Nice. So now, okay, now we have a few options. It's pretty important, I think, that we rush down the alchemy tree. That's pretty important. But we might want to pick up Arcana Antediluvium to get some mana regen flowing in, because remember, we have 0 on Eternal Harvest. And then rush down alchemy. We want Amateur Surgeon, we want Surgical Practice, we want Relic Seeker, and we want Grey Matter, at the very least. Durable Materials is also a good thing, but we want some stuff in Magic, I think, before we are saving up 3 points for Durable Materials. Like, this is good. Sorrow is good. Slake with Darkness is good. Running towards Black Incense is good. Getting Dispel is amazing. We're pretty much done with Ire until late game, and we're never touching Destruction this playthrough. So, Destruction was last playthrough. This playthrough, Magic and Alchemy. Hello, my bride. What am I doing with you? Great question. Here's some dread. 133 accuracy is a lot of accuracy. So for the Banshee, we can upgrade her dread. We can upgrade her evasion. Oh yeah, the question. The question. We have one more pack, right? What am I doing with you, Bone Golem? Part of me feels like I should just hold for more vigor. That seems like the correct move. So I'll give you 1 point in luck. Sure. And I guess you can wear this, Infested. I've never seen this item, but last time I had a very bad habit of hoarding onto items, And I feel like I don't have the luxury of doing that in this playthrough. Speaking of luxury in this playthrough, uh-oh. Okay. So, the golem is immune to stress attacks. And has a respectable amount of armor. Which means, if we're going to kill him, our options are limited. We don't have a way to get rid of armor at the moment. There is a character that could join us that can do that. I'd have to use my level 3 brain, though, for him to do that. Oh, look, my infested has... Wow, your accuracy sucks, bro. I can see why one of your upgrade paths is don't miss. 2 points for 5 vigor. It's probably worth, all things considered. Luck and accuracy. Ooh, we can get up to 40 luck. That's not bad. And he has this upgrade path if we wanted to go down that way. His Wrath ability has been available a few times, but it's basically a curse until the end of battle. It's pretty expensive, though. 60 Wrath is pretty expensive. I'm going to distill again. We're going to use level 2 brain.
Behold my
level 2 brains, not worth anything. They're crap. So, I guess I'm going to do it. Ugh. Am I? I feel like I should. Alright. Now, this character has been with us before. The Lich. The one and the only Lich. Such a good character. You might be wondering, how does he fit into a stress team? Well, I'll tell you. Toxic Cloud. It's great. It's a trap on the ground, and whenever someone moves into it, they take a sizable amount of stress damage. And we can upgrade this to Corrosive Cloud that makes it so any enemy standing in the cloud has no armor or resistance, which is pretty nifty for killing golems. I think... what are we going to do with you? I'd love to give him some accuracy, but I don't think that's necessary. Attack, Dread, Initiative. Seems good to me. Now I think what we're going to do is we're going to have the Infested sit this one out. Can you do this from anywhere? Okay, you have to be here. And the Bride can do her stuff from here. She can't set on fire, but that's fine because the dude can't be set on fire. Alright. Now the question is for after this pack. If we go towards the ritual side... Yep. I had a feeling he would do that. It is really convenient that him doing that... I'm gonna wait. Him doing that damages the bone golem quite a bit. Or stone golem, even. We have a bone golem. They have a stone golem. But it's unfortunate that I can't really mitigate that yet. So we kind of just have to hope that he doesn't do it again, or else our Bride is dead. Okay, we have to hope he doesn't do it again, or our Bride is dead. Here, get up here. Okay, that wasn't exactly what I thought would happen, but since we're here, since we're all here today, in this lovely day, now remember, the golem here is immune to stress and ignition, so... Lol. Hit me. Hit me. Hit me! Okay, maybe I should stop saying that. Will he only do that in the final column? That would be very convenient.
You will soon embrace your new existence.
Oh. Oh. Okay, she's alive. It's fine. It's fine. Who's this? It's you. Okay. Just keep stunning them. I'm gonna... She has 3 hit points left. How did this happen? Oh, I kind of meant to kill that thing. I was a little distracted. Sorry.
Savor
Oh,
these last
that
few
is
heartbeats.
unideal at best. Just chill, will you? Okay. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. All the threats are gone. We're just gonna kill this one, I guess. Yeah, just gonna kill it. Just kill it, forehead. Also, him not moving now kind of makes this worthless, but that's okay. If I can't give you a heart attack, I can at least throw a bone through your chest. You know...
As your suffering ends, your service begins.
Okay. Ooh, we're alive. Everything's fine. I'm not panicking. Are you panicking? I feel like we need the excavation up right... Meow. Look at this. 45%. And that's going to decrease over time? I'm looking forward to that. Hello, Infested. Please tell me you can do things. Okay. Initiative, accuracy, luck for the next attack. That seems pretty good. Is this a self buff? So he can be here in the last column. He can do all of these 3 abilities, and that's it. I guess the Lich is hanging out with us for a little bit. Okay, so now the question. Right or left? I've already talked about the disadvantage of going left. We're kind of stuck going left if we go left. There are steals, coffins, and an elite battle that looks horrifying. Which brings us to the other conundrum of going to the right. Where is... Oh yeah, we need to build the... This is a not a zombie, a skeleton, yes.
How did these bodies wind up here, I wonder? Was there an effort to set me free sometime in the past? Regardless, these remains will be used as fuel for my growing army.
For our growing army. Alright, let's bring the Wraith back.
The pact is signed. Let's hope there was no fine print.
I'm sure there wasn't. I'm sure you're fine. Now, the Wraith does not really want to be in the final position either. The Bride is really the best at it, even to this day. But, at least the Wraith can move about, you know? I'm tempted to give him this level 4 brain, but I'm not sure what would change if we did. Like, I'd probably just upgrade Ghostly Inferno. Or maybe Cursed Flames. I think I usually go with Ghostly Inferno. This is, this makes it so it hits 3 people with this curse, but the percentage of the dread stays the same, whereas Cursed Flames increases its damage by 15%. I've never done that, but I feel like that would be good. We tested that out a little bit, actually, with, the Unfrozen has a similar thing, but his is a damage, of course. Well, I'm going to bring the Wraith for this just so I can show you what I wanted to look at. So, these are the cultists. They will present to you the unique items for whatever minions you bring with you to them. So we have an item. We have the unique item for the Infested, which we already got thanks to RNGesus. Unique item for the Wraith, the Banshee, and the Bone Golem. You get it. Now, I talked a little bit about evasion tanking, and one of the ways that works is it's double Wraith in first and second slot with their Phantom clothes. This gives them 5 evasion for each block or ward they have applied. So they'll begin combat with plus 20 evasion by default. I think you can give them more. And the Wraith can apply their own block and ward using one of their upgrade paths. So the idea is the Wraiths in the first and second slot have just an ungodly amount of evasion, and should they get hit, they can reapply block and they'll not only negate the attack, but they can reapply it themselves, if they want. And they also, of course, can apply dread damage when they're not being defensive. So that's kind of the idea of the double evasion tank up front. It's a very frisky move, and we aren't going to be able to pull it off for a while, so we're not getting this yet. I just wanted to show it to you and tell you what I was thinking. The immediate decision we have to make is the Stack of Bones is an amazing item that we discovered in our previous playthrough and that paid itself in dividends. It was godly. For each 10 points of figure missing, the damage the Bone Golem receives is decreased by 2.5%. Now that seems small, but combined with the armor plates that we already gave him, it is significant. It makes him incredibly durable. Against everything, really. Our Bone Golem, Bone Storm, never came close to dying. And I'm pretty sure it was because of that item combination. He also had a lot of vigor, but that's besides the point. Ours will eventually get that high. Or we can go ahead and get the second slipper. This makes it so that the Banshee restores 20% vigor each time an enemy misses an attack against her. The good side of this is that she can heal herself now, which is very important in survival. And she is rather evasive herself. The downside is that this does nothing if she gets one shot, which can kind of just happen in this difficulty. And then we would have wasted a unique item. So I'm kind of on the fence between this. But my gut is telling me Stack of Bones. As long as the Bone Golem is on the field, I feel like we have a chance, you know? But this will give us some survivability on a character that has none of it, besides evasion. You can see why I'm torn, right?
Having an enchanted map like this is pretty handy.
Yeah, it is. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Stack of Bones. And we're going to look for a second ritualist that isn't too far off of the path that we wish to take. And we'll pick up the second slipper then. So there are only 3 ritualists left. 4? 1, 2, 3. 3. So we can either go to the right here. No, that puts us directly in the path of an elite squad that I don't really want to fight. But we could go to the right here. This is a cultist. Then that'll give us the freedom to go in any direction here. We could go... I don't really want to go left. This doesn't seem like a good idea. And going far right is kind of unideal, because this path would bring us... Well, it's just a coffin. Just a coffin, he says, when the coffin could provide a game-winning item. Or it could provide nothing, really. We've missed most of the coffins because they're over here. Okay. I guess we're going to go to the right here. Okay, we're going to go to the right. We have an elite golem. Good. Good. I feel like this path, choosing this path, is the risk, right? This is our most risky path. But if we succeed, if we come out of it alive, we get to take our ideal path up to the boss. Which is a big deal. And honestly, it could go this way. We might even want to go that way. Steals are good. We've seen how powerful steals can be. I do think we want Arcana Antediluvium.
My magic will shake the very foundations of this world.
This will give us some regeneration. Oops. Oh wait, no, I do want to give you this. Yes. Good bone column. Don't worry. Oops. I'll give you a name sooner than your predecessor received a name. Just not yet. So do we give... I'm going to hold the level 4 brain. This will be the final combat for today. We're already coming on for an hour. Time flies when you're having fun. So this combat is a guard, an elite convict, taskmaster, and an elite demolitions expert. We do not have the bride for her stance interrupty thingy. Well, not stance interrupt, but the knockback. But hopefully, between the Banshee and the Wraith, we should be okay. There is a fun little synergy here. I feel like the demolition expert is going to blow up. I feel like that's just going to happen. Convict, conscript, same thing. Actually, it's not, but you know what I mean. I feel like there's no possible way we're killing the demolitions expert before he enters his stance. I also feel like I have to heal. Yep. I'm shocked. What do you mean I was right? Okay, so we can RNG this again. We have 2 rolls technically, because we can use the Wraith's ultimate ability. Let's see what RNG does. Oh, it's beautiful. I've never seen anything so beautiful in my life. Now the downside is that this is going to go off. Or is it? We'll see. I'm just going to remove his initiative and we'll see what happens. We'll go from there. Now it may not seem like it, but do remember that the Banshee's ability that moved the Demolitions Expert is entirely random. Moves the target to a random position. Both times we've used it, both times we've needed it, it has moved him back to the farthest slot. Which has turned out to be a very good thing, because we just killed something, and if he was not in the final slot, he would be able to connect with the Bone Golem, which would be dangerous. Boom. Omega lol. Well, Elite Schmalite. Well, okay. That would have sounded way cooler if I didn't freaking miss. Alright, well. You can do damage, right? Sure you can. Get the kill.
A predictable outcome.
Lovely. I love it. Our Infested has gained rank 3, finally. Now, obviously, we're going to upgrade Rancid Breath, because this is his most important ability, as far as I'm concerned. What does this do? So, you can go a few directions with this, and I'm honestly not sure what's best. You can go with Plague Breath, which I think is what I normally go for, or what my gut tells me to go for. This just increases the damage of the curse and the initial damage quite a bit. From 70, 45, to 85 initial and 60 curse %. That's pretty good. Or you can go with Lingering Breath, which leaves it as it is, but it makes it so that the curse lasts 4 turns, which makes it a lot easier to spread this around to other enemies. Also gives you some +2 evasion, which is, you know, kind of nifty. Nothing special, but kind of nifty. The other one gives you 1 dread. You can get so much dread. I think I'm going to follow my gut and get the Plague Breath, because the initial damage has been killing people with heart attacks just because it's so high, I think. It was never confirmed, Whether it's the value of the attack or how many attacks that causes the heart attacks, or if it's a combination of both. They said it's a secret. But from what I've seen and tested, I'm pretty sure it leans more towards the value of the stress attack. That might not be true. But we're going to go off that theory.
Now, prove yourself worthy of my investment.
And for our Wraith, yeah, you can get more. You can get up to 2 more. So that means you can have 40 plus evasion. Of course, you start with 0. But you can get it up to, oh dear, 28. 68 evasion with full wards, full blocks, and full evasion. That's a lot of parts that you need, though, to be really tanky. We could start working on it, though. How many max stats did I have? Like, not even 2. Or 2, depending on what it was. Yeah, we have to start working on it now. Alright, get some evasion. Get some evasion and accuracy. I said evasion when I clicked on accuracy. I don't know why. I was thinking about evasion. Next time. Oh dear. Next time we have double Elite Conscript, the Elite Headsman, whose name really should have been Executioner, and Elite Doomsayer. Oh boy, this is going to be risky. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. The Eternal Harvest is here, and hopefully we can make it a decent bit before I die.